Hello, in this video we're going to look at the Pokit Meter by Pokit. It's a small multimeter designed to be handheld and stored away in your pocket. Unlike some of our other videos, we're not going to do an unboxing on this one, unfortunately. They sent it to me a couple of months ago to look at, but I didn't have time to do a video at the time and it was just too good to keep in the box, unfortunately. I had too much use for it out in my day job, but that gives me an opportunity to give it a really good review on how I've been using it in the last few months. So I'm not going to do a proper unboxing, but I'll go through all the features and I'll show you what you get in the box. So as you can see, I've got the original box and it comes with a Ziploc carry case which can fit all the parts to it, but in essence you only need to carry the Pokit Meter itself, which you can see here. So to start with, you've got the test leads that just pull out on the side here like a ratcheted. You've got your two ends. On the bottom you've got your retract button and that will just pull it all in, and you just clip the leads in on the side there and it all tucks away. On the back we have the battery compartment. It's like locked in, you have to push down and twist. You've got a small lanyard holder. In the rest of the case we've got the fuse. I don't even know how to fit it, but if it blows a fuse you've got a spare there and you can order more online. We have the hook style leads, excuse the couple of cat hairs. Yeah, so these are hook on leads you can use for sort of breadboard testing or whatever sort of testing you want. And the test leads just plug in as you'd expect. They will go in either way, but I find putting them down is not as good as putting them up in sort of this format. They seem to be a bit easier to handle. But yeah, you just push down and they'll hook on as you'd expect. So let's move on to seeing how it all works. As you can see, I've got the app open on my phone. It works with Android and iOS. I'm just going to overlay it on the screen here so it's a bit easier to see. It's quite difficult to record. So I've just got a battery here. When I eventually get the test leads on properly, you can see it works how you would expect a normal multimeter to work. I've just got it on the voltage DC setting, which I think is the default. You see there's plenty of information there as you'd expect, auto changing the range. You've got voltage AC, which works exactly the same, so I'm not going to show that here, and you can switch over to current mode. Next I'll quickly go through the resistance mode. I'm just testing my own resistance here. It goes up to the kilo ohms as you can see. Again, auto ranging. Next I've just got a 1k resistor here. I've just tested one side and yeah, that's about right for this resistor, I would have thought. And I didn't have a diode on hand, so what I've got here is an LM336. And I'm going to make it a bit easier for myself and use the clip leads. And as you can see, that's clearly a diode across those two legs. If I connect across the other two legs, you can show that's not a diode in that direction. Simple continuity check. If I had the volume up on my phone you'd hear it beep as well, but didn't. Next we've got temperature sensing. You can change between Fahrenheit and Celsius. You can also calibrate the temperature as needed. Next, if you go to the menu area, we can go to the oscilloscope. The oscilloscope's got quite a wide range for something like this. It's 1 millisecond to 5 seconds. I'm just going to sort of simulate something here on the 5-second window. As you can see, a nice clean waveform for the sort of DC voltage I'm simulating here. You can save all these sessions and information. You can archive them as well for future use, which can be quite handy. Down here you can switch the voltage window, so we can go between 0.01 volt up to 60 volts, and you can also switch between AC and DC, and you can do it in either voltage or current mode. The next area to look at is the data logging. This one works in seconds up to an hour, and you can see down the bottom middle, you can see, depending on what setting you have, it changes how long the log can go. So here at 5 seconds we can do up to 8 hours worth of logging, which is really good. If you know there's an intermittent problem, you can just chuck this in a cabinet, leave it for the day, and come back to it and retrieve the data. So you don't have to leave your phone with it. So I've just simulated something here. I've pressed stop there and it grabbed it straight away because I'm still connected, but otherwise you just bring your phone into distance and you can just retrieve it. And you can change the voltage just like you can on the oscilloscope. Next, we've got the little devices button here. This could be handy. If you lost it, you can just press the find button. Sorry about the blurry image there. It's really difficult to record clear plastic objects. Tech specs, so we can go through everything. You can find this all on the website as well. It tells you everything that the Pokit is capable of. And finally, there's just a little help button which will take you straight to their website. So as you can see, it's a very, very compact meter. It fits right in the palm of your hand. It fits right in your pocket. There's no need to be carrying big stuff around. And what I want to do first of all is sort of compare it to something similar. Fortunately or unfortunately, Pokit Meter is sort of out there on its own with things I can compare it to. So fairly or unfairly, the only thing I can really compare it to is my daily driver, which is my Fluke 117. This is probably one of the most expensive multimeters for your day-to-day, really, for just a multimeter. But this is sort of jam-packed with all the features that you could get, really, out of a multimeter. So it's a bit of a harsh comparison, but there's definitely some pluses and minuses on both sides of the coin. So my first comparison is obviously size. There's no comparison here. This does not fit in your pocket. It's unwieldy. I'd go as far as to say it's a pain in the arse to carry around. You need it sometimes, but it's not exactly easy to carry around unless you're carrying it in a tool bag. Whereas this, you can easily slip in your pocket. It's definitely a use case for this when you're just running out to a quick job. You just want to take a quick reading. So if you're working reactively, these are awesome. The second thing I want to bring up is the leads, which with all multimeters it's exactly the same. You've got the clips on the back that you can hook the leads into, but they never really fit right. Every multimeter I've ever had, you always end up wrapping the cables around them. It's not particularly healthy for the cables. The Pokit Meter sort of comes out on its own there with the ability to pull the leads out. It's just on a simple ratchet, and then when you're done with it, you just push the button on the bottom and it pulls the leads back in nicely, neat, tidy away. They clip into the sides, and then you can just throw it in your pocket or in its little carry case. Features wise, they've got some very similar features: voltage testing, resistance, current, all the usual ones. Now where this comes out ahead is that the Pokit Meter can only test up to 60 volts, whereas your Fluke is going to work up to 1000 volts. So this is predominantly designed for low voltage equipment. Don't go putting this on anything high voltage or you'll have yourself a paperweight, and not even a heavy one at that. The fluke meter has a couple of other little advantages, whereas this can test for capacitance, so testing capacitors. This will also tell you frequency, which in a way this can do as well, but there's a slightly different nuance to it. And whether it's a plus or a minus, the screen's inbuilt, so it's all one device. So features on the Pokit Meter that the fluke doesn't have are data logging, for one. So it's really helpful little feature where you can leave your Pokit Meter connected in a circuit and you can take a reading over time. So for instance, if a problem is intermittent, which happens all the time, chances are things don't always happen when you're stood there next to them. You can leave this connected into a control panel, leave it for a day, come back, download the data and see exactly what's happening. Really helpful if you was perhaps in the security industry or something like that. A door contact's playing up, or a PIR's not doing what you expect it to do, or perhaps a voltage is dropping over time or something like that. You could grab your readings straight off that. You could look back and find out exactly when and why something happened, and just build a better diagnosis of a problem. That's something that you wouldn't be able to do on a simple multimeter. This is where it comes into its own. So the Pokit Meter also has its own built-in oscilloscope, and if you know how to use it, you probably could use this to test capacitance, and you could also work out frequency of things. It'd be a little bit more complicated than this just showing you a reading, but you could definitely work your way around it. This can be a really useful feature, again, for seeing circuits in situ. For instance, where this would come in handy, if a DC power supply or something was failing, you'd clearly see that on the oscilloscope, because you'd see a fluctuating line or a dropping off and dropping down, whereas a standard multimeter may just show a solid voltage number, which may not actually be true. So having a little oscilloscope on hand is very helpful. Just bear in mind the range of the oscilloscope on how you'd use it. Don't expect this to be the same as a £2,000 desktop mounted oscilloscope with all the bells and whistles, but it'll get you out of trouble, which is really something you wouldn't normally be able to do on site. You'd have to bring it back to the workbench, which takes time, and yeah, could just save you an issue on site. The Pokit Meter is not going to replace the fluke in my toolkit. There's no way in hell. Love this thing, but I also love this thing. It will be in my toolkit as well, and it's going to be in my little run out kit. It'll always be in my pocket, and it has been for the last few months, and I've really no complaints whatsoever. It's so easy to have this on you at all times, and then when a problem occurs you can easily throw this in a panel and show, oh, your 12 volt power supply is actually giving out 9 volts. It's clearly an issue there. Look, there's a dead short on this line because I can show you the resistance. So it's really handy run out tool, designed ideally for those of us who are in reactive roles. It's absolutely perfect for that. Another thing to add, I've had this in use for about 3 months, and the batteries I had to just change the other day. So batteries last about 3 months, medium usage, but the app will tell you when the batteries are running low, so you just need to swap them out as and when. They're just your standard CR2032 batteries. Anyway, my final thoughts on the Pokit Meter. Really great little tool. As I say, it's not going to replace my fluke, but I'll use it every day. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. There'll be many more like it. I'm hoping to get some retro consoles in the future, so you'll probably see this thing in a lot more use in the future. I can show you it in use. If you've got any questions about it though, because it's quite a fully featured bit of kit, I'm happy to test things and show you the results. But throw any questions in the comment section below. I try and answer them as much as I can, as I do with all my videos. And if you've liked this video, it really helps if you hit the like button and also subscribe. We're going to have many more videos like this in the future, and I'll be trying to move the channel into a more of an electronics based or biased genre. So look out for some more electronics videos in the near future. That's it. So thank you for watching the video. I'll see you next time.